Night Sports Network. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And there we go. We're off and we're running. Another brand new live edition. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you. 2 hours of fun begins now, 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program, be a part of the show on a Wednesday morning. A lot of good stuff to get through, a lot of fun stuff, a lot of college football, Major League Baseball talk, some NFL talk, and that is where we go because just a few minutes ago, the NFL announcing their full slate of five NFL games to be played overseas this year in Europe. 5 of them this year. The Tennessee Titans involved in some. The Atlanta Falcons involved. Jacksonville's involved. The first one will be October 1st. Atlanta and Jacksonville will face off in Wembley Stadium in London. Got to wake up at 9:30 in the morning, or 8:30 in the morning, our time actually, to watch that one. That'll be October 1st. Jacksonville becomes the first NFL franchise to play back-to-back weeks over in Europe, as October 8th, they will take on the Buffalo Bills. And then October 15th, the Tennessee Titans will take on the Baltimore Ravens in London. And then for the first time, they'll head to Germany, Frankfurt, Germany, that is, Kansas City and Miami on November 5th. And then New England and Indianapolis on November 12th. So those are the NFL games being played in Europe this year. They announced that a few minutes ago.
Good stuff. They've been doing that for several years, and so they're going to continue to expand their reach overseas as the NFL, no question about it, so they can make some money and expand the brand of the National Football League, no question about it.
5 games, so that's I believe that's the most. I believe that is the most. Second, yeah. So there we go. They're also going to Frankfurt. 2 international games will take place in Frankfurt Stadium, marking the second German city in which an NFL game has been played. Last season, they made their maiden voyage to Germany. Now they're headed there twice. So there we go. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. Feel free to reach out to us on a Wednesday morning. The transfer portal busy yesterday. Alabama picking up a quarterback, Trey Amos from Louisiana.
One of the best corners on the market, Trey Amos. He had a really good year as what would be considered a redshirt sophomore for that young man. He's originally from New Iberia Catholic High School in Louisiana, and really developed into an all-conference player in the Sun Belt for the University of Louisiana, and went into the portal, got a ton of interest from around the country. We're talking SEC, ACC, Pac-12, a lot of options. He spent Sunday and Monday in Tuscaloosa. Alabama turned up the heat there a little bit. He had already been on an unofficial to LSU. That was really the 2 visits he had taken. He had an old teammate, Kyron Lacey, one of the wide receivers at LSU, that hosted him on the unofficial. LSU wanted him to come back for an official, but Alabama locked him up and was able to get him committed and I'm sure signed in the short order because, as I said after spring practice, when you went back and revised and took a look at what Alabama needed and what their what their expectations were and the needs of the football team. You heard Coach Saban at the A-Day post game talking about how they definitely would still be looking in the portal if they could improve their football team. But they definitely decided to and I felt like afterwards, even though they have some young talent back there, not a lot of experience in the secondary. A lot of young talent, probably going to be more talented than the group last year. But the group last year had a lot of experience. This one did not, and so you felt like Alabama would want to add a piece or two. I felt like if they could find the right ones to the secondary. I said defensive line. Now, there hasn't been any defensive linemen appear on the radar. Those are very, very rare. And the elite ones, like a Bear Alexander, went to play for Lincoln Sharman. There's no telling what he got NIL-wise. But he went from Georgia to USC. And so that there hasn't been another defensive lineman on the radar that you would kind of raise your antennas. And then quarterback, I thought was third. Alabama actually addressed quarterback first. We all know that, well documented with Tyler Buckner from Notre Dame. So now they get Trey Amos. I think he's going to be a corner. So and I think they believe he can come in and have a chance to start. Now it's just going to be are they going to add another piece? And we kind of talked about that as well as they had the young man from UAB, the transfer in earlier this week too. He was I know he was there Monday and maybe still was there yesterday. So he's going to make a decision in the short order. Supposedly this was his last official visit, but we'll see if Alabama adds a second piece because they could add two. And I was told that they had room for both of them if they decided to take Jalen Love as well.
This becomes the fourth school for Trey. Louisiana was his third school, so now he becomes his fourth school. Does Alabama really need that much help in that secondary?
Well, I thought Trey played his whole career at Louisiana. He signed with him in 2020. I think
third in the program. His third year in the program.
Yeah,
not school. Third year in the program.
He had played 3 years there. I mean, my first thought was that he had redshirted, but I think with that crazy COVID year, even though he played, they kind of didn't count it, and so he played 21 and 22, and so but they felt like they needed another corner because the corners they have two guys that have played. They've got Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terry and Arnold, who were the starters in the spring, but behind them they've got Des Ricks, an early enrollee, and he reclassified, honestly. He should be heading into his senior year of high school. Right. He reclassified from IMG Academy. And then when you think about it, they got another corner that's a redshirt freshman, the young man from Anniston. So they don't have a ton of experience back there in the secondary, so and in the corner spot. So I think they just felt like overall they needed, another corner. As Antonio Kite had a good spring, but again, he's just a redshirt freshman himself. So I think that's what Alabama was thinking from the standpoint of that they needed some more experience in the secondary, and I think that's why they could end up taking both these kids. Now, from what I hear with the young man from UAB is that he's visited Florida State. He already has. And I think, if that's the case, they seem to be a two-horse race for those two young men. And I think overall, when you look at Jalen Key, that he's more of a 6'2", 210-pound strong safety type of guy that I think could play in the dime package, play close to the line of scrimmage. When you sign these guys out of the portal, when Alabama usually signs a guy, they think he has a really good chance to start. Right. I still like Christian Story a lot. I thought he had a really good spring, but Coach Saban even mentioned that he had to be more consistent. So he may also just want to push Story and give him some more competition. But this guy, Love, Jalen Key. I think he's a guy that, with his experience as being a sixth-year guy, I think they think it could be valuable and that he could push for a starting spot.
All right, 256-576-4977. Feel free to join us on the program. So 24.
Got so many brain names in my head right now, but again, I'll apologize to listeners. Jalen Key, I don't know where the hell Love came from. I guess it was from our discussion yesterday. Went off the rails with the concert.
24/7 Sports has thrown out their win projections that they think for the SEC. And for Alabama, we talked just all about their pieces. We just highlighted the depth. We highlighted everything there through the transfer portal. They still may get some. But 24/7 Sports says, okay, this Alabama roster as constructed can win 10 games. That's the Caesars win total projection is 10 games for the 2023 season. The roster as constructed for Alabama, is it a 10-win roster team?
I mean, I think so. If the defense continues to progress offensively, I know they have a question at quarterback, but the skill guys around the QB and the offensive line's very strong. I mean, I kind of think it's humorous. I always think these win projections are stupid anyway. Did anybody think that Tennessee was going to win 11 last year? No, they didn't. They didn't have a clue. So, it's a lot of it is just anticipating and then of trying to create conversation, trying to create anxiety especially from the Alabama standpoint, because so much of the media is tired of Alabama beating the hell out of the team they cover and winning. So, I mean,
right. That's what I'm just asking, though. Is this team constructed to win 10 games?
Well, I think it is. I mean, I think that Alabama and LSU are the two best teams on paper in the West. Now they have to go out and win the games. But I think when you and then some you mentioned Trey Amos and Jalen Key and Alabama having to add pieces, but everybody's adding pieces. I talked to Otis Kirk yesterday on the recruiting blitz, and Otis has got such a keen understanding of their roster. I think he said they have 6 spots, something like that, available for transfers, and they've still got their irons in the fire. So many teams are still doing that and still adding pieces. And so Auburn, they just added another offensive tackle from Tulsa, who Arkansas had some interest in. He spent a year, I think, at Bentonville High School in Arkansas, but just 1 year. And then he played for Philip Montgomery at Tulsa. There was a big-time connection there. So Auburn has, been very aggressive, but they had to be because they just didn't have enough talent.
Right.
I mean, Brian Matthews, he's covered the team since 2001. He's extremely transparent when he comes on the show. He told me and told us again the other day on Monday that when the season ended last year, when they lost the Iron Bowl, they didn't go to a bowl game for the second straight year. Everybody knew they had already made the coaching change, and they lose the game, to Alabama. He said it was the weakest roster he'd ever seen, returning for the next year. He felt like it was 3 or 4 win talent, because everybody remembers the bad year they had. In Gene Chizik's last year, they went 3-9, but they weren't predicted to be that bad.
No, they had talent on that team.
Yeah.
So 24/7 or Caesars Sports says the roster that is constructed for Auburn right now is a 6.5 win team. Has Hugh Freeze improved this team through all the transfer portal moves that they have made, bringing in a quarterback in Peyton Thorne, adding some depth along the offensive line, adding some depth in that defensive backfield? Is Auburn a constructed roster that can win more than 6.5 games? Is this an 8-win Auburn team now with the moves that Hugh Freeze has made?
I don't know. We won't know. See, that's the thing. You can never project. If you have to take Deion Sanders, first of all, but see, Deion, he may have inherited the worst team in Power 5.
I think he's up to 42 transfer portal moves now.
And signees.
Bringing guys in. That's
and
40
signees and things. But they were 1-11 under Carl Durrell, okay, and when they finally made that change, 1-11. So they were terrible. They won 1 game, and so if they win 2 games, it's already an improvement. So, and they've done what Auburn's done basically. Both those teams have changed over half their rosters. The Auburn team, we won't know. We won't even know with Deion's team. But the only thing with Deion is twofold. One, they play in a weak-ass conference that doesn't even believe in tackling. And so they might be able to sneak up on some people in the Pac-12. And then 2, And again, that's not a shot at Deion. I think Deion's he's doing what he had to do. I wasn't irritated. Some people were irritated that all these dudes were getting cut and stuff. They weren't very good. I mean, he in this climate, you have to get good in a hurry, and so Deion's doing what he had to do, man.
And first-year coaches do have that ability to come in and change.
And so he's making hey, it's twofold. All these players want all this movement and be able to go in the portal at least once, and they want all this NIL money. Well, then coaches can cut you if you ain't worth a tinker's dink. Okay,
that's
just
get
out. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's twofold.
It does. It goes both ways.
If you don't do your damn job, they can cut your ass and they can go get somebody else that will. If you're too busy partying and you're not going to the class and you're not getting in the weight room and stuff, gone. Okay, that's just the way it is. You got to produce. It's a two-way street. Oh. And if the kid's producing and he thinks he's valuable and maybe wants to test the portal, that's the kid's decision. I mean, the college can disagree and not want to put him in the portal, but really the player has the power. So, the coaches have to care for the player. The player has to, want to stay there. But again, it's a two-way street. The coaches can make changes and encourage a guy to go into the portal, and the kid can ask to go into the portal. So it's a two-way street. So I don't mind what Deion's done. He had to improve that roster and improve it significantly. Auburn is the same situation. They're playing in the toughest league in the American, the toughest division, but we won't know about Colorado or Auburn until they play a game or two. So projecting what they're going to win. Do I think Auburn's better than they were? The best thing to say, and the one thing you can say, is if you look at the roster at Auburn and you look at the roster at Colorado, are they a lot better than they were at the end of their seasons when they crashed and burned? And I say yes. They both of them are, but we won't know how they're meshing and how they're coming together until they play a game or two and we actually look at them on the field. Because again, these dudes haven't played together. They haven't even. Auburn's brought in several pieces since spring practice, so these guys haven't even practiced.
Right.
So you got to wait and see how they're gonna. Because look, man, Alabama brought in a couple dudes last year. Eli Ricks barely did anything. Thought he was a first-round pick. Couldn't get out of the training room. And then when he did, he had one good game against Mississippi State, so everybody thought he should have been playing all year. They forget that all he did was get penalties against LSU, and he didn't play worth a tinker's dink. And then he handled the draft process like he was the number one player in the draft, and he went undrafted. Okay?
Right.
And then Tyler Harrell, another one. He came from Louisville. Scott, he's the only player that's gone into the portal from Alabama that hadn't found a home. You want to know why he hadn't found a home?
Because he wasn't worth the
club in the tub. Because he caught 3 passes for 25 yards, and he made no plays. Who cares how fast he can run if you don't know how to run a route and you can't learn an offense and you did nothing? It's not the coach, and it's not the coach blackballing you either. You didn't make any plays. It's a two-way street. He got his degree. Great for him. Awesome. Did his job in the classroom, but he made 0 plays.
All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, Georgia football news and other topics. Plus your phone calls, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm not seeing anything accident-wise at this point. Still got reconstruction going on at Sparkman and Jordan. Had a wreck late yesterday afternoon, had major damage to the utility system there. They've worked all night on it, still trying to get it all put together this morning. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Welcome back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and I am sure. Well, actually, here, let me rephrase this. And give me 2 seconds here to rephrase the question that I want to throw out there. Do you know the last college football team to visit the White House?
I mean, I know Alabama did not do it during COVID.
Right.
I'm thinking that Georgia didn't do it in 21 either. So maybe the 19 chance, LSU?
Correct. LSU is the last college football team to visit the White House after winning the national championship, and it'll stay that way because Georgia has declined the latest invite to head back to the White House. They did not go last year, and they will not go this year to the White House. They said because of the schedule and the timing, it is not conducive of them to go on June 12th. They use the reasoning as classes. Unfortunately, the date suggested is not feasible given the student-athlete calendar and time of year.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's May probably.
June 12th is when they...
Wait, that's what it would have been?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, because a lot of times during that calendar in May they get about a 3 or 4 week window where they can be away and go home and take a mini vacation. And then usually in June, at the beginning of June is when camp season starts and off-season workouts and things of that nature. But also, I mean, you got to understand, like a lot of these dudes, we just saw how many Georgia, I think they had 10 drafted or whatever. So a bunch of those dudes will be starting OTAs and stuff. So it's really hard to get a team together. If you're going to do something like that, to me, you've got to do it in like early February, or mid-February, like right after that second signing date, but before they all start, really ramping it up for the NFL draft. You mean people declare and everything, but when you're waiting, these teams scatter, especially in the transfer portal era, bruh. Because then you got guys bailing out. A.D. Mitchell's gone to Texas. Like, you need to do it as soon as possible if you're going to get a team to the White House. I mean, to me, I know it, and I think it would even be logistically easier because all the guys are still on campus. Now, when you talk about June, you're underway with your new team, and it's hard to get all these guys together. For example, even Todd Monken, he's gone to the NFL. He's gone to the Baltimore Ravens. So they got a new offensive coordinator. I mean, to me, I understand where Georgia's coming from. It's almost like a logistic nightmare. But of course,
it is, and it also goes to show you though that going not because of who's in there now, because it doesn't matter. Going to the White House anymore these days is not as big as what I don't think it used to be.
Well, I mean, with this administration, it's sure not. But I know.
I know where we could go. We could go a million ways with it. I just don't. I don't think I think the novelty of going to the White House doesn't mean as much.
Well, probably not
as what it used to.
But I mean, you have to. Everything needs to be done a certain way, and I think more efficiently. And it's certainly not happening with Joe.
Let's go on to the phone lines. Pat from Tuscaloosa with us. Good morning, Pat.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, Drew, there was a comedian when they'd say something like that, he'd say, "May the little cannibals down in Egypt or wherever they at eat on my toes." But you might remember who that was. But I think it was Larry the Cable Guy, but I'm not sure. But anyway, what do you think about this Amos guy just coming in? And hey, undoubtedly, there's not an issue with 85 scholarships.
No.
And that we're supposed to be like, because only Coach Saban knows how you say it's a process. And, hey, but I'm happy that he's continuing to get us a little, because we do need some help in that defensive backfield as far as in case somebody gets hurt or something, because we do have some issues with depth. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, and the one thing with Trey Amos is systematically, I think they kept a lot of the same things because they promoted the DC to head coach with Louisiana Lafayette, and they were doing a lot of the same things under Napier that Saban did. So schematically, it ought to be a lot of the same stuff. We'll see. I know he'd improved a lot. I think he was considered Louisiana's best player. So, and they certainly hated to lose him, but he decided to go into the portal. He felt like and he's got 2 years of eligibility. So he could be a one and done if he plays really well, but you could also get him for another year. As I was telling Scott off the air, if Eli Ricks had stayed in school like he probably should have, then I'm not even sure Alabama would have been in the market for a corner. I think they would have rolled with what they had. But Ricks left, and they may have upgraded because, first of all, Ricks was barely ever on the field and didn't produce a lot when he was there. He had one good game against Mississippi State. We'll see how this kid does, but you have to wait and see until he practices because, again, I thought Tyler Harrell would be one of the top 4 receivers last year, barely played. I thought Ricks would be a starter early on. By the time the season came around, never really happened. It took him over half the season to get on the field. So, they took Amos. He's going to get there in short order, I'm sure, and be there, if not mid-May, by June, and start learning. So we'll see. And then you've got just the simple fact, are they going to take Jalen Key? He's been on campus. From what I understand, as I said earlier, it's either going to be Alabama or Florida State. He's from Florida. He visited FSU before Alabama. Supposedly this is going to be his last official visit, so it may come down to the simple fact of how hard they push. But I was assured yesterday that Alabama had enough room for both of them. So you kind of mentioned the 85. I know somebody was trying to say yesterday they may have 87 guys, and as soon as Trey Amos committed, within 5 minutes, I got a direct message from somebody, is somebody else going to transfer? I was like, no, not to my knowledge, because Alabama lost a couple guys, to the transfer portal. We know Traquan Fagans went to Lincoln Sharman at USC, and then we also know that Jarquez Robinson went to Colorado. So they had already lost a couple of DBs, and so that didn't help their depth, and both those guys played the star position. But now Alabama wanting some help at corner so they can move Terrion Arnold around potentially and may take Jalen Key because they could move around a guy like Malachi Moore as well. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think we'll know in short order, probably by the middle of this week, what Jalen Key's going to do.
Yeah. Isn't Jalen close to 6'2"?
Yeah. I saw that Amos was listed at 6'1", 197. So that's a nice sized corner, and that Key was listed at 6'2", 210. So the first thing that with Key kind of I thought to myself was when they go to dime, he could be the guy that plays the money spot that's there to play against the run close to the line of scrimmage and be a box guy. But we'll see. I mean, he was an all-conference dude at UAB. We'll see how quickly he would catch on defensively. And he's experienced. He's a sixth-year guy, so he would be a one-and-done. This would be his only year at Alabama should he take that.
Yeah. Well, it just gives us more. It gives us more run-stopping ability, and the biggest thing is adding some depth. And Key probably in the event, Lord forbid, in the event that we needed a safety, he'd be big enough to play that too, probably,
Yeah, no question about it. He should be fit, big, and physical enough, no doubt.
All right, Pat. Thanks for the phone call, bud.
Thanks, Pat.
Hey, guys. Thank you for taking my call, Chris.
We are short on a break here. Got to get one in when we come back. I'm going to talk high school baseball coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Another warm afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, a partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. We're going to talk about that opportunity for some isolated and widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Most of us probably going to end up spending the day dry. Temperatures drop into the mid 60s as we head into the overnight. It's a rinse and repeat process for your Thursday, a partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky. Temperatures hanging out in the low and mid 80s with the opportunity for some isolated thunderstorms. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sounds like they have reopened the intersection at Sparkman and Jordan. They worked all night to repair damage from an accident there late yesterday afternoon. Had major utility damage with that one. Everything else looks pretty good this morning. Traffic level heavy all across the valley. You be careful on that ride in. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with the 2030 Fast Track Weight Loss Program. Find out more at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Suffering from emotional pain and mental health conditions, Intensive Outpatient Programs, or IOP, is a rich addition to your continued individual therapy. Group members realize they're not alone and that others have similar difficulties. Hearing and sharing different ways to think and cope can be encouraging, empowering, and promote healing. In most cases, treatment is covered by insurance and no doctor referral is needed. Virtual IOP sessions available. Take your first step to wellness by calling 205-999-5247 or log on iopservicesllc.com.
Well, welcome back, Talking Ball. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Welcome back in on a Wednesday morning, 7:35. And usually during the regular season, you don't get too many high school sports stuff being played on a Wednesday.
Right.
Usually it's pretty silent, but this is the postseason.
It is.
And we're going to try to get it all in. Got to get it all in. And the one good thing the State High School Athletic Association does when you get to semifinal baseball, they kind of let the schools figure out how and when to play these series so that they can give their starting pitching some rest if they somehow manage to get through the semifinals and get to the state championship game so that you don't get short rest. So it's like you're not playing on a Friday and a Saturday and having to turn around and play on a Monday.
Right.
You get some downtime. St. John Paul II doing that because they will start their semifinal series with Etowah tonight.
Yeah, and, of course, there's some rain, Scott, that could happen later in the week, too. So, but, again, you're right. The biggest thing is because the state final series start early next week, so it allows you to stay on schedule should you reach the finals. And certainly it's already been historical. This is the greatest season in JP2 Falcon baseball history. For the first time ever, they go to the second round, then the third. I was there for that quarterfinal series against Priceville. They split that doubleheader 6-2, 7-6. Then they turn around and win Game 3, 8-6. So this is going to be just an unbelievable opportunity on campus for them this afternoon, this early in the evening, Scott, at 4:30. They will be taking on the tradition-rich Etowah Blue Devils. Now, Etowah hasn't won a state title since 1996, but they had the great Larry Foster there for many years and were a perennial playoff team and have been one consistently. But JP2 is improved by leaps and bounds. This program 2 years ago under Joe Sodolano, I knew had a lot of young talent, and certainly that's been the case. And Robbie Seaman, who has taken over the program this year, the young coach, that of course played for Hunter Royal and was a GA at UAH, has taken over the program. We talked to Robbie Seaman last week, and the good thing is we're talking to him this week, which means again history. And JP2 will be taking on Etowah at 4:30 this afternoon in Game 1. They will play a doubleheader today in the 4A semifinals. Coach, welcome back to the show. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Thank y'all for having me again.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it. First of all, great kudos, man. I mean, that was a crazy environment over at Priceville. I went to it last week, and I know you and I spoke briefly after Game 1. It was a tough, hard-fought 6-2 game. Some tough at-bats. I mean, if a couple of hits fall in for you, it's probably a game that goes down to the final out. But your team competed really hard. And then I said the key would probably be jumping on Priceville the second game. And your guys took cue to that, jumping out to a 6-0 lead, winning it 7-6 in the bottom of the seventh. But a big-time gut check for your guys in a tough environment against the number one team in 4A to come back and take two straight to win that series.
No, it definitely was. I mean, it was definitely probably our gutsiest series win of the year by far. I mean, just to go, on the road like that, and like you said, just a tough environment, and be able to keep our poise and focus on the game, focus on executing what we're doing, not get caught up in some of the stuff that was going on. It was just very proud of our guys for the way they handled it. Like you said, to lose the first game and then to come back and win the next two, I think it shows a lot about just the resilience of our guys and just kind of how they're built. So I was definitely very proud of the way we responded after that game one loss, and thankfully we were able to kind of pull it together and come back and win the series.
Yeah, you get that series win. Nothing is easy in the postseason, right, Coach?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was tough. Talk about the job on the mound that your guys did too. I mean, even in game one, because sometimes when things don't go well early and you guys got down 6-1, it's a key for the starter to go deep in the game. We've Scott and I have actually even talked about this already this week because we've been asked about it too, about the pitching rules and the pitch count rules. We had a caller call in and was asking about that. And you have to have guys get deep into the game because you don't want to burn too many arms in the first game because you want to have guys available later on in the series should it go a third game.
Right, and then for the past two series, we've kind of had that strategy with Brendan Caruso early in the game. He kind of gives us a good start. We kind of let him go 25 pitches and in hopes of bringing him back later in the series, and thankfully that worked. This past weekend, he gave us a good start in game one, and he was able to come back in game three and give us good 4 or 5 innings in relief, and just did a really good job for us. And then, obviously, after losing game one, we had to go to, in my mind, our best pitcher in Luke Sanji in game two to kind of pull us through. And thankfully, he threw a great game for us, gave us a chance in game three. And after, like you said, during game one, we didn't really burn anybody for the rest of the series outside of Cody Johnson. So that put us in a good position for the potential game three. So, and our guys just kind of stepped up and able to compete out there for us and did a really good job for us.
So does it the same formula for this series with Etowah? Do you go with the same rotation, same plan as what you did in the previous series?
That's a good question. I mean, some of our guys were kind of beat up, so that's the formula I would like to go with. But I'll kind of have to get to the field today and see how some guys are feeling and kind of get a sense of things. But I would like to start Caruso again. I don't know the format we're going to go in exactly. We'll just kind of have to get to the field and see how everybody's feeling today. Because I know some guys have been pretty beat up, and the short week definitely doesn't help. But just kind of the way it is this time of year for everybody.
Robbie Seaman, the head coach of JP2 Falcons, with us baseball, and you came from the college level. Certainly, you played at UAH. You coached there for Hunter Royer. They have a great program, do a great job over there in the Gulf South Conference. And you came back down to the high school level. But talk about the adjustments you had to make as a coach, and for our listeners who maybe not as familiar with what they've done the last few years with the pitching rules, because this is really still relatively new. Lay it out for our listeners, the pitching rules and what goes into it, and how you have to now strategize to lay out a potential 2 to 3 game series, Coach.
Right. Well, just specifically with our pitching situation, we have probably 5 or 6 guys that are will be in our rotation as far as starting, relief, whatever. And a lot of it depends on how game one goes for us. At Priceville, we got down by 4 or 5 runs in that game one. They were throwing one of their guys on the mound. We were having trouble getting anything going. And in a situation like that, you kind of want to save your pitching to put yourself in the best position to win games 2 and 3. Not that you want to just throw away game one, but you got to kind of plan for the future there a little bit when they got their guy on the mound and they got a 4 or 5 run lead. And we kind of had to. That's been our strategy for the first few series. Really, we kind of, if we can win game one, we'll try to set ourselves up to be really strong in the mound for game 3, knowing that we'll go up against their best available in Game 2. I don't know if that's kind of the situation for everybody, but that's kind of the situation. Just the way our starting pitching kind of lines up, so we really don't have three guys that have been, every week or every area starters for us. We kind of have to piece it together a little bit, so it can be a little bit of a puzzle from that perspective. A little bit different from the college game, but other than that, baseball is baseball, and it's been a lot of fun to try to kind of put those puzzles together, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, let's look at Etowah for us. I kind of break down what you've seen from Etowah. They've been on a roll this postseason as well.
They have. They're going to be a very scrappy team. They're not going to strike out. They can put the ball in play. They're going to run. If we throw them out 3-4 times, they're probably going to keep running. It's just kind of what they do. They're going to drag bunt. They're going to do everything they can to put pressure on the defense, which is a little bit of a different challenge than Priceville, who plays relatively straight up. But I would kind of compare Etowah to the way Brooks plays offensively a little bit. And they'll do some stuff on first and third situations to kind of put pressure on you. They got a couple guys in the middle of the lineup who got gap-to-gap power, and they got a couple guys who can throw it well in Freeman and Chisholm. So it's definitely going to be a challenge for us. But hopefully, based on the series that we've had early in the playoffs, we'll be prepared for them, and we'll be able to have some success against them.
Well, and Coach, how big was it to come out in Game 2 against Priceville and your team attack the baseball so well and jump on them and really, I think, steady themselves? It relaxes everybody because then, the shoe was on the other foot. You guys kind of got out to that lead.
We did, and like you said, that's very important in any high school game, just to kind of set the tone early, and especially after losing Game 1, it was big. I mean, because when we can get a decent lead, and we have somebody like Luke Sanji on the mound, I think our guys have a lot of confidence in him that if we give him a little bit of a lead, we're going to have a good chance to win. So definitely a great response from our guys. That was really, really necessary in order to get that series back on track. So hopefully we can keep the sticks going this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. Paul Andrzejewski had a really good series, swung the bat really well. I thought he kind of set the tone for you too, because he had some success in Game 1 and then he carried it over into Game 2.
Yeah, he did. He's been our guy all year at the top of the lineup, just kind of setting the table for us. So, hopefully he's a little bit beat up right now, but hopefully he'll be good to go and he can be the Paul Andrzejewski that we're used to. And it's not just him though. I mean, it's the guys who behind him have been driving him in, and guys like Tyler Sottolano, who's been absolutely on fire in the playoffs. Who's done a really good job, and Brendan Caruso, Jared Bachelor's come on as of late. Luke Sanji's done a really good job in the 3-hole. So we have a lot of guys who have stepped up throughout the year, but obviously it really kind of starts with Paul at the top. So he's been incredibly good for us all year. I mean, his batting average is around 500. So I mean, we're going to need him to kind of do what he does, but hopefully all of our other guys will be able to step up as well.
Mm-hmm. And then to give another shout out to his brother, I thought it was huge. He pitched in Game 1 and Game 2. You showed a lot of faith in the freshman Mark Andrzejewski as well, putting him on the mound to get out of that jam and get you guys to the bottom of the 7th, where your team was able to put the ball in play, put some pressure on that Priceville defense, and then come away with that 7-6 win, which got you certainly to Friday and able to advance.
Right, and I put Mark in some very difficult situations this year as a freshman. I mean, he's come in and pitched in some difficult circumstances against some good teams, and he's done a really good job for us. Especially late in the regular season against New Hope and into the playoffs. Aniana, I know he threw a good bit against Aniana too in the first playoff series, but having him come in middle relief and do a good job of coming in, throwing strikes, holding runners on. It's been key for us, and I'm very proud of him for what he's done as a freshman this year, because I know it hasn't been easy, some of the situations he's been put in, but young guys like him and Joey Ross have really come through for us this year. So we got 7 seniors who have done a good job. We also got some young guys who are up and coming who I'm excited about for the future.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, Coach, what's the key going to be against this Blake Bone-led Etowah team? You said they're scrappy. There's a tradition-rich program, used to a lot of success. How do you get this huge win at home to try to get to the finals in 4A?
Just the way they play, we're going to need to throw strikes. We can't give them free passes because they're going to run. They're going to steal second. They're going to steal third within a couple of pitches. Just if they kind of continue what they've been doing over the past few weeks, and we're going to have to play solid defense on the infield. They're going to put the ball in play. They're not going to strike out. So we have to play solid defensively and just kind of like, I think, go along the similar trend of getting an early start, jumping on them from an offensive standpoint will definitely be key, and just kind of setting the tone for the series. So hopefully we can do that. It's definitely going to be a challenge, though. They're very well coached. The players understand what they're trying to do, and they buy into it. So it's going to be a challenge, but we're definitely looking forward to it.
We certainly are too. Last standing in Madison County, Coach. Congratulations, and hope we're speaking with you next week when you're headed to the finals. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Thank you all very much for having me.
We got to get a break in. More Talking Ball when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a couple of wrecks coming out of Limestone County now. 72 eastbound at Burgreen. That one may have an injury. And we got one northbound on 99 at Fort Hampton. That one's going to be a no injury. It sounds like it may be a single vehicle, so it should wrap pretty quick. Everything else seems to be moving along nicely, and they've reopened Jordan and Sparkman. They had major damage from a wreck late yesterday. It's all back open now. Snelling has openings for experienced accountants and accounting specialists. These are temp and career positions. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Since 1998, Scooter's Coffee has delivered high-quality drinks with quick service and a big smile. And the folks at Scooter's Coffee know a great cup of coffee or other drink can bring a smile to just about anyone. Yes, we specialize in great coffee, but Scooters also has smoothies, teas, and delicious food items, too. And this week, Scooters is our zone deal. Right now, get $50 worth of Scooters in Huntsville for just $25 online at 977ESPN.com.
Here's a list of what we have. The Crimson Tide Sports Network, the Atlanta Braves Radio Network, Madison Academy Football, UAH Basketball, the SEC Radio Network, the College Football National Championship Game, the SEC Football Championship Game, NBA Playoffs, MLB Playoffs, and that's just the starting lineup. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That fact is important for you to know.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So you don't have to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Welcome back. Stan McDonald from the Stanton Law Firm. I had lunch with Lewis just recently and with a client of ours, a mutual client, and great to hear all the good things going on at the Stanton Law Firm.
Thank you, Wes. The Stanton Law Firm, as you know, we've discussed before, we're dirt lawyers. We do a lot of real estate, litigation and closing. And yes, my son Lewis McDonald enjoyed meeting you a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of your friends. He is, as you know, he's opened up a commercial closing division. So he's really helping a lot of people who are trying to close, buy, or sell on their commercial property. And he can't be in this community doing business without knowing Wes neighbors.
I don't know about that, but it sure was getting to meet another McDonald and talking a little bit about his grandfather, Coach Dye, and the different things. It was a lot of fun.
Well, your listeners are really going to enjoy meeting Lewis and you in this community. And like I said, at Jacob Title or the Stanton Law Firm, we close business. We close some good commercial closings, residential closings. We appreciate being part of your show.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Short time here to wrap up hour number one. Atlanta Braves back on the diamond last night, taking on the Boston Red Sox. Quick two-game series against the Sox. Braves get 12 hits, 9 runs. They hold the Red Sox to 8 hits, 3 runs. They get a win. 25-11 are the Atlanta Braves. I believe that's their fastest march to 25 wins through 36 games in team history. I believe that's what they said last night.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then the New York Mets continue to struggle.
Darn.
2 games below 500 are the Mets. The Braves have like a 6-game lead over the Marlins, and I think a 7-game lead over the Mets right now.
How much per win is that for the Mets, like for their payroll and overpaying all these clowns?
The Mets are 17-19 right now out of the gates, and they have been just dealt with injury after injury after injury, but not to make excuses, they are 2 games below 500.
I mean, the Braves just lost Max Fried for 2 months, man. He's got a forearm strain. You don't want it to turn into the dreaded Tommy John.
Right.
He went on the 15-day DL. It's probably going to be 2 months. I mean, the Braves have had guys getting hurt left and right. Now some of them are coming back, like Travis d'Arnaud. I believe he's off the list now. He's back. But again, they've had their share of injuries themselves. They just got Orlando Arcia back. Hopefully, it's just another case of the Mets underachieving and the Braves just being a lot better and really just a better run organization. Because all the Mets are doing is throwing money at it and trying to. They're not really, producing anybody from their minor league system too much. I mean, they do have Pete Alonso, but I mean, it's just one of those things where they're just cherry picking, and so far it hadn't worked. We'll see. But it's a marathon. So these teams, like the Braves, for the last few years, have honestly they're playing well early this year,
right?
But they've been going into June under 500. And caught fire. So hopefully this is going to be a more consistent year for the Braves. Hopefully these injuries will subside and they won't continue to, unfortunately, have to go through them, because we know Ian Anderson was in the AAA anyway, but he's had to have Tommy John, so he's done for the year. So, but luckily for the Braves, they've had a great track record of developing young pitching and having it come up, and just like we were saying the other day, so far you could argue, because right now even Kyle Wright's on the shelf. So I mean, Bryce Elder and Spencer Strider, that's probably been their 2 best starters. And honestly, going into last year, nobody knew who the hell Spencer Strider was yet. And Bryce Elder has been up and down, but had some opportunities to succeed and done so.
All right, hour one's in the books. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Make sure you download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app today. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at 977 ESPN on both Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, all of the fun stuff. When we come back, I'm going to talk some more JP2 baseball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
NBA playoffs last night. The Sixers beat the Celtics 115-103 to go up 3-2 in the best of 7. Boston was favored by 7.5 at home. Philadelphia paid plus 270. The over was 218. Denver up 3-2 over the Suns after a 118-102 win last night. The Nuggets were favored by 7. The under was 220. The Heat lead the Knicks 3-1. Game 5 tonight. The Knicks favored by 3.5 at home. Miami plus 145. The over under 209.5. The Lakers up 3-1 on Golden State. The Warriors favored by 7.5 at home tonight, though. The Lakers plus 260. The over under 226. The Nuggets now the favorite to win the NBA title plus 300. The Sixers plus 350.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There we go, hour 2, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. We are hanging out, 8 o'clock on the dot. One more hour to go on our Wednesday show. We'll recap everything that we went through in hour 1 here in a little bit. But we did talk some JP2 baseball in hour 1. That's where we picked the conversation back up to get you started in hour 2.
Yeah, Robbie Seaman, the head coach, just joined us for the second time. He's done a remarkable job in year 1. This historical season for the JP2 Falcons. First time ever to the semifinals, and they're led by one of the best athletes in our city, Scott. Started seeing this young man 2 years ago as a sophomore on the gridiron and on the diamond. He's had a remarkable career. He was an all-area receiver. Then he moved to quarterback this year for his senior season for the Falcons. They certainly reached the playoffs he did a remarkable job leading that team. And then this year, the baseball program every year has gotten better. And when I saw this team 2 years ago under Coach then Joe Sotolano, I thought to myself, wow, these guys are mostly 8th, 9th, and 10th graders. This guy was one of those sophomores. He's now a senior. He's going to be serving our country and going to West Point to play Division I baseball. And when you see this dude play on the diamond, he's certainly a Division I talent. No question about it, playing shortstop for JP2. And also can still pitch. He hasn't done that as much this year, certainly, but he's certainly swung the bat really well. Scott, I don't know, it's pretty good when you hit nearly 500, and he's certainly hit well over 400 this year for the Falcons, leading this squad. And Paul Andrzejewski is going to join us for a few minutes to talk about this senior season thus far and his career on the diamond for the Falcons. Paul, welcome back to the show, man. I know you joined us on the Recruiting Blitz after you signed your letter of intent, but what a senior year so far, and congratulations thus far on the results.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And talk about this season for you in this senior class. Coach just was on with us. You guys, I think, have 7 seniors, but you've been through the fire, and what an exciting time to be a Falcon.
Yeah, it's been really fun just to get on this run and be with the guys who we've been with for really not even 4 years, but like 5 years.
Yeah.
With this senior class, we've been together. We're really close. Some of the juniors, too, we're really close, too. So it's just been really fun to do something the school's never done before and keep it going, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, talk about the ride. What's it been like in the dugout? What's it been like in the locker room, in practices, and in the games during this stretch?
Well, our team like I said, we're just so close. So everyone knows each other. When we're in the dugout, we're having a blast. Trying to get on a run, and everyone's just screaming, doing fun kind of stuff. It's been nothing like no team I've ever been a part of. They all trust each other so much, and I think that's one of the keys to our success is how close we are and how we act and how we conduct our business throughout the day and throughout practice. And I think people throughout the school look at the baseball team and say, hey, those are some guys you want to be like just because of how we go about our business, you know?
Well, what's cool, too, one of the coolest moments of seeing that action in Priceville last week and the first day, your younger brother, who was in 7th grade a couple years ago, he's a 9th grader, but he got through some big innings for you guys, gave yourselves a chance, kept you guys in the game in Game 1, and then gets the W in Game 2, coming in a really tough situation. What did you tell him? I mean, these are high-leverage situations. You've got a lot of experience yourself, both on the mound and in the field for JP2, but your brother's a young guy, but I thought he showed a lot of grit. What was y'all's kind of give and take when he was able to come out there and then help you guys stay alive and ultimately advance?
Yeah, it was just I went up there and called time and went to go talk to him in that big spot in Game 2, and I just told him to relax and that everyone behind him wants to win, but no matter what, we've done something that the school's never done, and we're going to be right behind him no matter what. So regardless of result, just throw the ball, and hopefully the result will lead to the right direction.
Mm-hmm. What's that like when you say that out loud? And I'm sure you're not used to saying that, but you've gone further than no other team in the school has. When you say that out loud and your teammates talk about that, and these are memories that'll soak in a year, 5 years, 10 years from now, but in this moment, what's that feeling like to say that?
It's really an honor to be here because no other teams really, there's hundreds of teams in the state of Alabama and only so many make it this far, and to be one of them, it's an honor, and I mean, it's very exciting. I mean, this whole time I've been like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe it, you know, but really I can believe it. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, and I know you got a first-year coach in Robbie Seaman. He's done such a great job. I loved his demeanor, coaching third and keeping you guys in the game. And how clutch was it for you, though, because you kind of set the tone for the squad. You bat lead off. You did a great job, you guys, as a team. After that tough loss in Game 1, 6-2, you had some opportunities, especially early, didn't cash them in, but certainly you jumped on a really good Priceville team in Game 2, got up 6-0, and were able to hang on and win that Game 2, and then keep it going in Game 3 and continue to put up the offensive pressure, scoring 8 runs. But how key was it to get off to that good start in Game 2 and kind of get everybody relaxed and give Luke a lead?
Yeah, well, I think that a good thing about our team is that no matter what happens, we can always regroup and keep a level head regardless if we lose, win. The next game is just another game. And I think another good thing is we pick each other up when another person's failing or doesn't succeed. The next person will pick them up, get a nice hit, and I think we did that really well in Game 1. We didn't play that well, and then we came out in Game 2 and just got the bats going early, and that was a huge start for us, and we took that energy into Game 3 as well and got us to where we are now.
Yeah, and I know you guys have been practicing. You probably heard. I know you didn't. I don't believe you guys played Etowah, of course, in the regular season. I know Coach Seaman's been kind of keeping you guys. He told us a little bit about them, that they put a lot of pressure on teams. They bunt. They run a lot. What's kind of the scouting report for Etowah? What do you guys got to do?
I think if we just keep playing our game, limit the errors, get on base, run. Keep hitting the ball. I think it should be a pretty good game against them because they're obviously in the Final Four as well, so they're going to be a really good opponent. And I think if we just keep playing our game, we should have a chance.
Yeah, I think there's no question. I think that, and I guess my final question for you, because it's going to be on campus, your facility is still relatively new. I think a couple years ago was the first year you guys had been on campus for baseball. With the new facility built over there at the new school as well. How exciting is it to have this on campus with a chance to potentially advance and go to a state championship series in Montgomery?
Yeah, that's really exciting. I think the whole school is ready for it, and hopefully we should have a really big crowd. And I think it should be really fun.
Yeah, no doubt. And finally, just how I know you're wanting to finish your high school career strong, and you've had a great year, but how much are you looking forward to Division I baseball and representing your country and playing at West Point now?
I'm super excited for that as well. Ready to get up there and do whatever I can to help, and hopefully that'll be just as fun as this now.
Oh, no doubt. Well, Paul, we appreciate it, man. We know you got a busy day ahead of, you got school, and then you got to play the biggest baseball games in the history of the JP2 Falcon program. But we appreciate your time. Well, it's an honor to be over there when you signed your letter of intent to have you on the recruiting blitz. It's been great to have you here today to give us a little bit of insight into this great squad. But good luck to you later this evening and late afternoon. And hope the Falcons get a couple of dubs and head to Montgomery. But thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, good stuff there. High school baseball, it is ongoing, and semifinals going on throughout the classes, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That's right.
Hopefully we'll get it all in.
There was so much rain at the end of last week.
Yeah.
They had to finish one of the semifinal series yesterday over in Mobile because it got delayed and lightning delayed and everything so much. So, and I think Demopolis finally eased past St. Paul's, but it's sometimes it takes a minute due to the weather. But hopefully they'll have good weather out there tonight and a big crowd out at JB2. And just to let everybody know, I double-checked on it. Only tickets through GoFan. And it will be out at JP2, but certainly should be a big crowd. It was a huge one out there at Priceville last week, Scott.
College football ongoing as well. And I love this. Lane Kiffin, I don't know if you heard this or not. Lane,
was this the one about Saban?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you hear this one?
I think I read it. I don't think I listened to it, but I read it.
Okay. Lane Kiffin was on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
College football.
Yeah.
The show on college football.
Right.
Got asked about Nick Saban and the respect that he has for Nick Saban and his relationship that he has with the coach, because there's this weird infatuation with Nick Saban with Lane Kiffin. It's kind of weird at times. But here is the coach explaining that.
I think it's maybe an unusual way of respect for what he did for me. First off, I respect the guy's the greatest college coach to ever coach college football, because he's doing it in an era different than Bear Bryant and some of those names because of scholarship limitations compared to back then. Imagine if Nick Saban had unlimited scholarships or 150 players. He could take 150 players. Good luck, everybody else. I mean, be Alabama and Georgia, I guess. But so for him to do what he does is unbelievable. And then for what he did for me personally was unbelievable. So it's kind of like one of those, he's like a family member where I can joke about him or something, but if someone else does, it really pisses me off.
I mean, and if you follow Lane Kiffin on Twitter, which who doesn't, you can see him firing back at people all the time. So, and some people truly believe that's why he didn't go to Auburn, because yes, he has to face them every year at Ole Miss. But that may not continue due to the new scheduling format. We'll see.
Right.
But again, it's one of those things where, and I think secretly that's the job he would love to have. Do I think he'll get it? No, but you never know. I mean, he's done remarkable things at Ole Miss. I never thought in my life I'd see the Ole Miss coach. What is he making? $9 million now, something like that. So he's making huge money. He's got 3 contract extensions. He decides to stay at Ole Miss. His daughter wanted to go to Ole Miss. So he's got a daughter now in college, which is hard to believe with Lane Kiffin, but he does. And of course, his dogs become matter of fact,
Juice.
I saw a good friend, Scott Cocker, on his Facebook. I mean, he was at some function in Mississippi with dog training and whatever, and Juice was there. So he took a picture with Juice. He says, "Yes, this is the Juice." I mean,
Juice.
So whatever,
I know. Juice really took off.
Oh, I mean, how many? I haven't checked. How many Instagram followers does Juice have? Probably 100,000. I don't know.
Well, I tell you what,
it's a dog.
Yeah, I know, but
it's a very cute dog, by the way.
But if it gets loose on campus,
I mean,
can they really
Lord.
say without anybody even really knowing what it means that Juice is loose?
I mean, everybody will love Juice, man. He'll get a bunch of free meals.
I'm going back in the day. I mean, we know what the Juice is.
He ain't gonna stay lost. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Jeremy's with us this morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Jeremy.
Morning.
Hey guys, I graduated from Etowah
There you go. Etowah Blue. Yep.
This series right here, this is going to be a good series because I'll tell you, we won a state championship my freshman year back of what was 93, 92, and I thought that was the best team that Etowah's had in baseball. This right here might be the best team that Etowah's had in the years. And they look really good, but I think it's going to be a tough one, man, because I don't have any kids in high school or going to school, so I don't get to keep up with it as much. But then you hear, you go eat and you be around friends that do have kids in school, and they talk about, they're talking about this series. I mean, they're talking about this team that they're about to play in the Falcons. This is big, and the atmosphere is going to be. Etowah's going to bring some folks to Huntsville.
I have no doubt about that.
I can't wait.
Look, I mean, Jeremy, now, did you graduate in 93 or you were a freshman?
I was a freshman.
Okay, well, I graduated Huntsville High in 94, and when I was in high school, there was basically 3 programs that you knew every year were going to be really, really good, and if not win a state championship, then, contend, be heavy, at least for me, that you always looked at. And Hartselle was beginning their run under Coach Booth, who had taken over that program. They were always really good. Etowah under Coach Foster, they were always loaded, and I saw them play several times. And then, of course, Coach Dunn at Vestavia. That was kind of the 3 programs that I always kind of followed and looked at, that I was like, okay, these squads are going to be going on deep runs. They may win a state championship. And Etowah always was really, really good and really talented. And and Blake Bone, who I know is a Southside guy, but to me still may be the greatest position player in the history of UAH baseball, and really got Coach Pierce rolling. Once I saw he was taking over that program, I knew Etowah was. They never really went away, but you knew that they were going to go back to being a heavy state contender. I mean, it's been, I want to say 96 is the last time Etowah won a state title in baseball. I'd have to check that, but I mean, I know Coach and even Coach Foster came back for a few years to continue with the program. But baseball has always meant a ton out there in Attala, along with football, we know. But certainly it's a good athletic school. But football and baseball have always been strongly supported with the Blue Devils, and I'm expecting a lot of people to come from Attala and be watching the Blue Devils compete against JP2 this evening.
Well, and the guys, like from my years in school, which I liked high school so much, I stayed an extra year. But the talent that came through during that time on both sides, football and baseball, guys that went on to play college ball and football, and the guys that went and played minor league and actually got, maybe a couple of bats for certain teams and stuff. It was always great to see. I mean, the athleticism, but during that entire time, our hatred for Gadsden High School did not equal in baseball as much as our hatred for Hartsville. I mean, that was the game. There was fights every time we played them. Coach Foster got suspended for half the season because of a missed call on second base. Guy didn't touch second base in Hartsville during the playoff game, and Coach Foster went off. I mean, he went off on them, and he got suspended for like half a year for that. But it was amazing just to see all the great baseball, and I'm glad to see it back. They've done a lot for the facility down there, and put a lot of work back into the facility, and I can't wait to see the outcome of this, because I think it's going to be some great high school baseball.
Well, we appreciate the call, Jim. Yeah. And before you go, I just want to let you know I can't say it on the air, but I have heard a story about Coach Foster and Coach Booth in an exchange, and yes, it's not for the faint of heart when Etowah and Hartselle would play.
No,
Jeremy, and you're correct. It was. I probably know that story because I was probably standing there, because we had some We didn't have bench clearing brawls. We had bleacher clearing brawls.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully not one tonight. We appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks.
Jeremy, thanks for the phone call. All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, short segment with us. We'll be right back. Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Our newest wreck is in Morgan County, Hudson and Lehman Drive. They've already called for a wrecker there. 72 eastbound at Burgreen may still be working. Northbound 99 at Fort Hampton Road in Limestone County also may still be waiting on a wrecker. No mask, no hose. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Flow Trampoline Park is your one-stop fun spot for your next birthday party. Whether you're a boy, girl, kid, or adult, Flow has you covered. Party packages allow up to 25 plus guests, so you'll be able to bring all of your friends. And with all the fun competition to be had at Flow, maybe enemies too. Party packages will give you access to 60 minutes of jump time, grip socks for all guests, a private party room, and a party coordinator. Flow is behind South Parkway and Drake, behind Cracker Barrel. For more information, go to flowhuntsville.com. Get jumping with Flow.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, people call the award-winning burgers totally insane, which is a compliment because Bad Daddy's Burgers are just that, chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness built with premium Angus beef. They're bold and they're bad. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, 2317 Memorial Parkway. Check out our menu and even order online at BadDaddy'sBurgerBar.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. And you never know what you're going to find out. You just kind of cruise around. Podcasts have become so popular and so all over the place.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier this week because of and they're sponsored by all these. We're talking about the betting in sports that's going on. All these controversies.
All these podcasts.
Yeah, they're sponsored by Bet Rivers and everything else. Yeah.
Mac Hereford, am I saying that last name right? Played
Mac Hereford. Yeah, Hereford. Yeah,
played at Alabama.
Yeah, walk on. Yeah,
hopped on.
Really class act, man.
Hopped on a podcast.
Right.
And started sharing some stories about Jalen Hurts and Mac Jones. And the practices at Alabama during his time there. And this is what he had to say about Jalen Hurts, because he was there when the whole Jalen gonna leave and all this other stuff. Here is what he had to say about Jalen Hurts.
There's a time where the media portrayed him like he's wanting to change. Jalen Hurts taking these way out. He's like his dad wants this, whatever. And he had a team meeting. He called it by himself just to tell the team, he's like, look, I'm staying here with you guys. Like, I'm staying here with you guys this year. I'm going to give it all I've got. And most people, again, would have been like, screw this. Yeah. Like, I just did all this for this program and they want to bench me. Like, what is that? But Jalen Hurts stuck.
Talking about the team meeting that Jalen called.
And it's like.
Yeah. I mean, it was a big surprise because I thought after the spring, or actually, honestly, even before spring, I remember when he went through his last spring at Alabama, I thought, that there was a good chance he might leave before spring, after the national championship game. And when he stuck it out for spring, I was like, okay, he's going to compete. He's going to see where he stands. But I thought, all right, he'll probably leave after spring because he's going to know for sure that Tua is the quarterback.
Right.
But he stuck it out. He absolutely did. Of course, it was pre-NIL, pre-transfer portal, all that mess. But still, he stuck it out, graduated because he had a little bit more academic work to do to graduate, and then chose Oklahoma, which was the best business move for him. It's what Nick Saban told him to do. He said, look, man, you need to go to the best place where you can play, start, but also have a chance to win. Because if you go somewhere and you go 6-5, blah. You got to go somewhere where it's going to be high profile. Oklahoma had some young quarterbacks, kind of like what Alabama did with Tyler Buckner, because they've got, Milroe is still a young guy, or is a redshirt sophomore who hasn't played a lot. Simpson's is a redshirt freshman, played barely any. And you got Dylan Lonergan, and then you got, of course, Eli Holstein. So they have no experience. So and you go to Lincoln Sharman, who the one thing Sharman can do besides wipe his ass. I'm kidding about that. Lincoln Riley's a really good offensive coach.
Yes.
Okay, we're just joking about all that Lincoln Sharman stuff.
No, we
that's just our Drew and Harry tongue-in-cheek stuff because of their
about
defense.
Him being the defense.
But
because
when you're talking about quarterbacks and you're talking about offense, he is the whisperer, man, because he's had so many Heisman Trophy winners at Oklahoma. He now has one at USC. His offense is going to be productive. They're going to throw it around. They're even going to run the ball because he doesn't get enough credit for how balanced they are. So you knew it was going to be a good fit for Jalen Hurts when they aggressively pursued him. You knew they weren't bringing him in to sit. They were bringing him in to start. He got him to the Big 12 championship, and they won that, and they got to the playoff. Now, they got eviscerated by a great LSU team, but he did enough to impress enough people, running and throwing the football, showing the improvement, to become a second-round draft pick of the Eagles, and the rest is history. So, again, there's no one that handled the process better as a player of losing his job but continuing to grind and then using a transfer to his advantage than Jalen Hurts. Under the old system, because that's what it was, as far as being a graduate transfer, there's nobody that handled it better than Jalen Hurts, because every move he's made has resulted in like winning the lottery almost. I mean, he became a Big 12 champion in Oklahoma. He got him to the playoff. He produced. He became a second-round pick, which, in all honesty, going in the lower part of the first round would have been worse. He might have got more money up front, but being a second-round pick, you get to this extension faster, and now he's been to the Super Bowl and nearly won it, and now he's one of the top 2 to 3 highest-paid players. The reason I lose track because they start,
it's the annual pay.
Everybody up, one's up, everybody else.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's fixing to be,
yeah.
Because whenever they pay him, but they paid Lamar Jackson and they paid Jalen, and blam, he doesn't have to work the rest of his life.
No,
he just got paid in spades, and he's probably got the best situation, maybe even better than Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson in the NFL, when you talk about dudes and what the Eagles have around him and what they've been able to retain so far, because they really haven't lost a ton from that Super Bowl team.
All right, so Mac also talked about the practices at Alabama. What's it like going through practices there at Alabama? This is interesting.
I can't imagine how those practices were, dude. They must have been intense, man.
They were awesome. I mean, every practice there, everything had a rhyme or reason. We'd have, I think, 12 or 14 periods. Can't remember exactly, but it was wild because every period had a certain amount of time. It was methodical to a T. It would be 6 minutes for the first period. And what was crazy is, like, even with reruns, so we'd have to do a redo. If Saban didn't like the play, if the defense messed it up, we'd have to rerun that play. Even with those, we would end perfectly on the spot every single time, switch to the next thing. Yeah. So it'd be like team period, and then we go to special teams back to, first down, whatever, third down period. And it was just a science.
Interesting. I just think that's interesting. It's all down to a perfect, meticulously timed period. I've been to a lot of practices,
right?
College level, high school level, and sometimes it's a minute late, a couple minutes late, you're
you remember Tom Coughlin in the NFL? He would say if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
Right.
So that's and they're from the same kind of tree, the Belichick tree and whatnot, and Bill Parcells. So it all goes back to the same. I mean, if you're great, that's what you have to do. And Max certainly, he was a great part of the organization. Certainly, he didn't play a ton of snaps in real games, but he was a great program guy that believed in what they were doing. Always wanted to play for Alabama. I had him on my BAMS radio podcast many years ago when he was coming up. Such a class guy from a great family. Originally played at Mountain Brook, then transferred out of state, played at a prep school, but had gone to the Saban camp when he first got there as a young kid. Always wanted to play at Alabama, fulfilled his dream. Then he graduate transferred and went to Vanderbilt and finished his career. Now COVID kind of messed with that a little bit, but he certainly was part of a lot of great times at Alabama and has a unique perspective.
Yeah,
and,
it was just interesting to hear
what he's speaking on.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting
that
perspective because he was there during a time when you've seen what the kind of uncertainty at quarterback, and not really. This is probably the most uncertainty since A.J. and Phillip Sims, but without a proven guy. But he was there during a time which was tumultuous because you had a guy in Jalen Hurts who had gotten off to a great start in his career, but lost his job to Tua. But I think Jalen did a lot. He and his dad, the way they decided to approach things, and that was a great story that Mac told about how Jalen said, "No, I'm staying here. So no matter what you're reading on the internet or on some message board, I'm not transferring, and I'm going to stay and fight it out." And then he stayed and was the backup, but showed improvement, and then moved on.
Do you think someday we'll be watching a movie or reading a book about that time?
I don't know. I mean, if Tua Tagovailoa gets it rolling, and he started to last year, but once again got hurt.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy and the Dolphins, I'll say if next year if the Dolphins play the Eagles in the Super Bowl, you're definitely going to see a movie like your boy Kurt Warner. There is going to be a movie if the Dolphins play the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And hopefully that happens.
Will Tua be that quarterback? Is he that good?
I mean, he can be. But you got to be healthy.
Oh, I thought the Dolphins wanted to get rid of him several times over.
Well, some of their fans did, but I mean, you can't fix stupid. That's why you haven't been to the Super Bowl since the days of Don, the late great Don Shula. So give the kid some time, protect the kid, and they got him another great weapon in Devon Achane. I mean, I'm telling you, Achane. I know he's a smaller back, but he can absolutely fly. Look what Darren Sproles did in the NFL. This kid can be electric, and hopefully he can help this ground game for Miami.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, we're going to talk some Etowah baseball. We've previewed the one dugout. Let's step into the other dugout when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Another warm afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. We're going to talk about that opportunity for some isolated and widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Most of us probably going to end up spending the day dry. Temperatures drop into the mid 60s as we head into the overnight. It's a rinse and repeat process for your Thursday. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky. Temperatures hanging out in the low and mid 80s with the opportunity for some isolated thunderstorms. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
They're working to clear a wreck in Morgan County, Hudson and Lehman Drive at 72 eastbound at Burr Green, and Limestone County, 99 at Fort Hampton. All those trying to clear as well. Popeye's Shrimp Tackle Box has 8 crispy Louisiana seasoned butterfly shrimp with a signature side and a buttermilk biscuit, only $6. Popeye's University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Have you ever turned your back on God Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I screw up sometimes, silly.
Okay, almost everything.
Come on, pal. Tell your fortune.
Log on today. 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Welcome back into the show. And we've talked a lot of high school baseball in this show today. We'll do so once again real fast as we've previewed JP2. Now we're going to shed a little light on Etowah.
Yeah, no doubt. The Etowah Blue Devils, we kind of talked about it with Jeremy, who was an alum of the school. When I was growing up, when I was at Huntsville High in the early to mid-'90s, Etowah was a powerhouse, had been since the 80s under Larry Foster, multi-time state championship program. Really the city of Gadsden. You talked about Southside Gadsden, you talked about Gadsden High School, and now it's, of course, Gadsden City. And our next guest coached at Gadsden City for 3 years. Before that, from 2008 to 2017, he was the head coach of his alma mater at Southside. Reached the state finals, I believe, in 2012 with the Southside Gadsden, and then led the Gadsden City Titans to the playoffs before deciding to take the reins over at Etowah. He's done a remarkable job reestablishing their brand. It's a special place to coach, and this guy, for me in my early years when UAH started baseball, he was the dude. He came over from Southside and helped Bobby Pierce establish UAH as one of the best Division II programs in the country. He went on to play 5 seasons in Major League Baseball in the minor leagues and was a professional and went into coaching and has had a great career. And it's an honor for the first time on the show to have Blake Bone join us. And Blake Bone is now with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, welcome to Huntsville with Drew and Scott. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on. Doing great. Just, that anxiety you get from game day. So appreciate you guys having me and look forward to talking with you.
Yeah, and Coach, talk about that anxiety a little bit. When you're a player, you can control some of it and you were a great player at Southside. You guys had a lot of success. As you're a coach and you're molding these guys and you're trying to get them ready to play in a series of this magnitude, and of course you got Southside to a state finals, as we mentioned. How do you help the players handle the anxiety of a big series like this on the road?
I think it really goes back to your preparation. You're trying to get better every single day, regardless of where you are in the season and what time of year it is. And and I think we talk a lot about being able to focus on the process. I know that's the word that Coach Saban uses a lot, but I mean, it's the truth. Like, if you just worry about enjoying what you do every single day when you come out here, then, you don't really have to focus so much on the outcome. And I think that can help with their anxiety. But as a coach, man, you don't get to go out there and play anymore. So you just kind of sit back and have to hope that they're prepared and hope that they're going to have some success. But our guys do a great job of handling the day-to-day, because it can kind of be a grind this time of year. You're playing once a week, you know, and practice becomes, you fall into your routines and trust your routines, but it can be a lot of the same thing over and over. So they've done a great job of handling that the last couple of years.
Take us through this last series. We're very familiar with the Hartselle Tigers. We're very, or not. My mind is, I've been studying charts.
Well, we were just talking about Hartselle and the old rivalry between these two programs, but now they're different classes, though.
Yeah. Take us through your last series, though. Take us through how the ups and downs of the last series went for you. Obviously, I believe it was Arab is who you had, and Arab had
West Limestone.
West Limestone.
West Limestone had a really good year, Coach. Talk about being able to beat a really good West Limestone team to get to this point. And actually, you've quickly reestablished this program in your time there.
Well, you know, West Limestone was an older team, kind of like we are, and had a really talented bunch. Had a really talented number one. I believe he's the Patterson kid. He's signed with UAB, and we knew that going in, we were going to see some velocity from that guy, and we knew their top 4 or 5 guys were really good offensively. You know, and they started Patterson game one, and he didn't have his best stuff. You know, I think we were able to jump on him early. I think we scored 6 in the first, and got us off to a good start. And that first game, we kind of were able to, you know, jump ahead quick and stay on them. I think that was important. And Patterson only threw 38 pitches game one. And one of the things in game two, it's rare to see, but he turns around and starts game two and was remarkable. You know, he was a different guy game two, sitting lower 90s just about the entire game, had us no hit through 5. But, you know, I think our guys did well. That game, I think, that led us to the series victory was we didn't have quick at-bats. It wasn't like we were just going out there and getting dominated. You know, we were running the count full and get a walk here and, you know, quality ABs that allowed us to get to the bullpen in the 6th. His pitch count after throwing 38 in the first, you know, he didn't have but around 100 pitches left. So when we were able to get to the pitch count and get in the bullpen, due to the fact we did have some quality ABs early on, you know, when you get a bullpen in high school, you know, there's usually that's your opportunity to go and win a game, and we were able to score 6, I believe, 7 in the 6th to take the lead and finish that one out. So we've had a tough road, man. We played some good teams early through this process and got another good team coming up. Corner was a really good team round 2, and West Morgan was a really good team round 1. So it's been a different road this year as far as the teams that we played, but it's been very, very tough. So we're excited where we are and ready to get after it tonight. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And as we know, West Limestone had knocked out WCA Westminster Christian from our area before they played you guys. You guys win 8-2 and 2-0. And as you said, it was a really a tough pitcher's duel in game 2. But you guys you were able to finally crack the code and win that game late. And we talked to Coach Seaman in the first hour. He talked about how you guys are scrappy. You definitely put pressure on the defense. You bunt, you run a lot. What's going to be the key? I know you haven't played JP2, but you've done your research. What impresses you as you've studied them a little bit?
You know, what they do well, they kind of are similar to us. They're going to put the ball in play. They do not strike out a lot. They are going to compete offensively, and they're going to try to run the bases too. They're going to try to do things to get runners in motion and create some offense through that, and open up some gaps on the defensive end. And you know, I just think at this point in time, you know, you just got to do the things you do well, and we got to kind of worry about ourselves and control the things we can control from our standpoint, and not, you know, understand what they're going to do, but kind of be focused on us and making sure that we play our style of baseball, which is some of the things you alluded to. We have a group of guys who we're fortunate who can really run 1 through 9, and you know, they've been in our system now for 2 years. They understand what we're trying to do on the bases, and they do a really good job of implementing those strategies and executing from a base running from a bunt standpoint. And you know, I think we're improved offensively over a year or two where guys, you can trust guys a little more to get a 2-out hit or do the things it takes offensively to win games.
Yeah, no question about it. We're talking to Blake Bone. And Coach, we don't want you to give away your lineup or your pitching rotation, but who has kind of led you first on the mound? Because, now that the way they've changed the playoffs, because when you were playing, when I was coming up in high school, the first 3 rounds were kind of one and done, and then when you got to the semifinals and finals, it was best 2 out of 3. But you have to develop pitching now. You just talked about the key a lot of times is getting into the bullpen, but talk about your pitching staff and how they've developed this year.
Well, we're very fortunate to have some really good arms, the guys who have been through this process a year ago. Caleb Freeman is one of our starters. He's a left-hander. He also plays center field for us, but he's a guy that we depend on heavily. He's a competitor first and foremost. He's one of those guys that you want on your team. You want him to have the ball when the game's on the line, and he's done a tremendous job for us for the past 2 years. And then after him, you got a sophomore, James System, big righty, 6'4" righty, very long, loose, going to probably play in the SEC at some point in his career.
Man,
he throws. He'll start a game for us. And we got some guys on the bullpen that's done really well, too. Another sophomore, Damon Devine, who comes in and he can really spin it and locate and throws pretty good for his size. And he's a little guy, and everybody's like, man, this guy, what grade's he in? 8th. And he comes out there and, can run it up there, low 80s. Spin a break ball pretty good. And, Trace Thompson, another guy who threw our game 3s last year, hadn't had the opportunity to throw a game 3 yet, but Trace is a great game 3 guy. I mean, last year I think he was probably 5-1 with around a 1 ERA. So we have some. We're fortunate to have some guys who not only can locate and pitch and do those things, but can run it up there a little bit too. So we've got a great staff, and those guys have been really good so far in the playoffs.
Is this going to be one of those series where the last one out of Etowah turned the lights off?
We're hearing.
I don't know. We're excited about being here, and obviously, I'm excited about coming to Huntsville. You alluded to it earlier, but spent a lot of time in that city, and love coming back, and love being able to get back into Huntsville area.
Oh, yeah, we're going to love having you back, too. I mean, a lot of great memories for your time, your playing days at UAH, no doubt about it. And but speaking of swinging the bat, you were a great hitter in your own right. But your lineup, what's going to be the key against this scrappy JP2 pitching staff for your lineup later today?
I think it's just really always just make sure we're getting good pitches to hit, being able to capitalize on mistakes, and staying patient at the plate. I think that's every time you go in. It's really all about getting good pitches to hit and getting barrels on it, and staying patient, not trying to do too much in these situations. Sometimes you get overhyped up and want to try to do things. Try to be hero and things like that. We just got to continue to do what we've been doing. I think that's going to be the recipe for us to be successful at the plate. Is just not try to do too much.
Yeah, no question. You're coming off a sweep of a really good West Limestone team, and Coach Bone, I know you stayed at your alma mater for a long time. Did a great job getting that program back. Certainly, Gadsden City, you had some success there. What made you want to come back and go to Etowah? I mean, you're very familiar. You grew up in the area, so it's a lot of great baseball in the Gadsden area. But what makes that Etowah program so special?
Well, I'll tell you, you said it earlier, Coach Foster, Larry Foster, he brought this program to the highest it could go. I think it was a program that was extremely respected across the state of Alabama and beyond. And, the job he did here laid the foundation for this place to be what it is. And, I think, they did have a lull there after Coach left, but at the same time, I think the biggest thing for me was kind of the area and the kids that, you want to coach. You know, it's a blue collar type mentality here, and a lot of kids that are hard workers that want to be better, that want to represent this school and what the baseball has been about here for a long time. And you know, and that's what I enjoy coaching, man. I really enjoy guys who enjoy the grind, who you know, do anything to get better and work when you're not practicing. And you know, those kids are few and far between these days. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons I came over here. And when you talk about baseball, there's a lot of things that go in that decision. We have a great group of administrators to work with. We have a tremendous superintendent who loves sports, and we got a great mayor that is willing to help in any way. So when you kind of got that combination of the right kids and the right community and the right leadership, you know, it was just kind of a no-brainer for me. It was one of those things that, you know, you look forward to making that move and taking the chance.
Well, we're certainly glad you did that. We're looking forward to the Etowah Blue Devils coming to town to play out at JV2, the biggest series in Falcon history, and another big one. Etowah trying to get back to the state finals and reestablish themselves as one of the best brands in the state. Blake Bones certainly has done that in his short time, getting this Blue Devil program back to one of the elite in the state. Coach, congratulations on the success so far. We look forward to you coming back to your old stomping grounds and bringing a ton of folks from Attala. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and thank you for joining us this morning and talking some baseball.
Guys, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you. Good.
Let's get our final break in. Your tomorrow's headlines when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sounds like they're just clearing on that wreck in the Trinity area in Morgan County. That was Hudson and Lehman Drive. That one may have had a minor injury. 72 eastbound at Burr Green should be about ready to wrap up. That's Limestone County. Another one in Limestone County, Highway 99 in Fort Hampton. Last I heard there had a wrecker on the way. And Jordan and Sparkman, where they had that wreck yesterday, they had the intersection closed for the first part of the morning. That has now been reopened. Traffic coming through that area normally now. Do you know who to call when you need a heart doctor? You could write this name down now so you have it in the future. Dr. Randall Burns is at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue, where they have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all: attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Time does keep on slipping into the future, and you'll be able to stay on top of it throughout, I don't know, next week or so. But the NFL is keeping on throwing out games for their schedules. You know, they've launched their first ever Black Friday game. That's going to be the Dolphins at the Jets on week 12.
Uh-oh. Aaron Rodgers and Tua.
Your Christmas Day game is going to be the Giants at Eagles, one of them. And then your New Year's Eve game is going to be the Bengals at the Chiefs. So the NFL continuing to release some of their schedule.
Yeah, Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes. That'll be watched by many.
It will be.
There you go. The Super Bowl champion Chiefs. And Joe went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I nearly got the Bengals their first championship, and some people think he may get them to finally climb that mountain and win the Super Bowl. And if he does, he'll never have to buy a beer in Ohio ever again. He already doesn't have to in Louisiana, but he can cement his legacy. And how stupid was Urban Meyer not to play him? And that's all I'll say.
Well, Urban Meyer's a smart man. He said Texas has the best roster in all of college football.
And I hope he keeps saying it. Like I say, everybody pick Texas, please. Please pick Texas to beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Let's hear that all summer long.
Oh.
I'm sure Sark will love it. He and the pole assassin.
The pole assassin.
Yeah. He's
Haven't
still
heard
there.
that name in a while.
Yeah. He is. He's still there.
Have not heard that name. Yeah. All right.
Jeff Banks, special teams coach.
What was the monkey's name?
I don't know. He bit somebody.
He bit somebody.
And I think they got sued. I don't know.
Well, if your monkey bites somebody, you're going to get sued.
You know how bad that sounds? We're ending the show talking about that. I mean, holy Toledo.
That doesn't sound great now.
It doesn't. It sounds awful. Good Lord. Everybody got to JP2 and watch some baseball tonight, and they won't. I'll just stop.
1 in 3 adults in America have pre-diabetes.